because the inspector was supposed to come. They knew that they weren't supposed to bury it yet. They knew that they need to run water to it. So that was a setback. Setbacks happen because people happen because people are driven by money or motivated by money. And there's nothing wrong with being motivated to earn money, but being motivated by money is an entirely separate thing that which leads to betrayal and not being loyal and not being a good person in general sometimes.
Oh my God, that is key. The motivation should be to serving God and making the person happy. Because if they just I don't know, as you were saying, they just bury what was it again?
Septic tank. They were supposed to bury it. My grandpa gave them direct instructions to not bury it because it had to be inspected. They knew that he was watching them, and they both knew what was happening. My grandpa tried to stop him, but they completely ignored him, and there was nothing he could do because he had to have the septic tank installed where he lived. The area wherever the area code was, there was certain laws preventing him from. He wanted to shoot them, but there's laws preventing it. Even though they were on his property, there were laws preventing him from shooting them. He wanted to. Yeah, it was a septic tank.
So for the septic tank, the reason why I'm gonna say, the reason why I feel like they did that is because they're well, if we didn't do it, we might have to come back and do it later, and we're not, and even if we come back later, we're still gonna make the same amount of money if we didn't go. So they're like, our motivation is money, not making the person happy. I feel like that's why.
Well, their motivation was money, not doing their job. Their motivation should have been doing their job, not necessarily making anyone happy, but doing their job. And that's exactly what happened. They didn't want to have to come back and bury it because they knew that would cost them money and gas, materials, people. But because of the way my grandpa signed the contract to have it done, he made sure that he wouldn't have to pay twice. He just paid once for them to come out twice, and they wanted to make a lot more profit than they actually ended up doing because my grandpa ended up suing them. And so that don't do that, because you know what, you're gonna lose if you're driven by money, you might lose long term or short term, but you're gonna lose somewhere somehow if you're driven by money and not by doing your job or whatever you're supposed to be doing.
So I feel pretend, let's say, let's give an example of signing a contract maybe. The person that's signing the contract and the person that's giving the contract should both be loyal. So the person signs the contract knowing that they're gonna have to pay this certain amount of money. They're gonna have to follow instructions. They're gonna have to follow what the contract says they have to do. But the person that also has to keep the promise on what the contract says, also keeping loyal, because then both people become happy. They both benefit from it.
Yeah.
That should really close it off. If you have anything else remaining to say?
The last thing I wanted to comment on that. Yeah, that's exactly what happened with my grandpa. It's just they both knew what the contract was, what it was gonna do, what they were supposed to do. They didn't follow through. And if you don't keep your end of the contract doesn't exist. And you know what? There are laws in place to keep contracts going, and you know what? You're eventually going to be taken to court, and then you're going to lose. It's not worth it to be a scammer, and you're not worth it. It's not worth it to it's not worth it to be a scammer. It's not worth it to not hold up your end of the promise or the deal or whatever it is.
Let me know your comments in the comment section. So So also make sure to like and subscribe. If you like this, please let us know. If you have any other thoughts, please let us know in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah.
Yep. If you really like it, we can make a part 2, or we could do another subject, but do it similar. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another video with XPstream. Today I'm going to be interviewing Elliot on some really important questions about loyalty and promises. Please welcome Elliot.
Yo, what's up?
So hey Elliot, do you want to say a few things a little bit about loyalty and how you've been doing?
Loyalty? Well, it's a broad topic. It's a form of trust and functionality. You can't function without it. Yeah, that's about it that I have. It's a form of trust and loyalty. That's what it is.
How would the world be like doing without loyalty, and like how does like the effect of people like if someone's like not loyal, how does it like affect the people around them, their friends, the family? Like how does that affect like other people?
If one person isn't loyal to another, then they don't have a form of trust. They're not trustworthy. They're not trusting each other. It's not a relationship. They're not friends. That's how it is. How does it only affects. Normally, it only really affects 2 people, but it can affect more than just 2 people. That's what I think about as far as your question goes.
Yeah, so I was also gonna ask you who like some companies that are like unloyal, like give me some examples. Like let's take maybe loyalty is also in the section of promises, truthfulness, and other stuff like that. So do you truthfulness is the foundation of all human virtues. So say how does truthfulness like or lead into like generosity or being with friends, and how you can like be loyal and still keep friendliness?
It's a long question. I can be loyal and still be friends. Loyalty is friendship. Shoot. Wait, what was the question?
Okay. So the question was like how can you like keep friendships like using loyalty?
Okay, thank you for abbreviating that. I can keep friendships. You don't betray each other. I have a friend named Dalton, and I've recently been having trouble with him because he makes jokes that are like a little kind of out of the comfort zone of like making fun, poking fun jokes. He's like, no, I'm just kidding, and that's not how friendships should work. So that's not how loyalty works. And so there's a certain amount of boundaries that you need to keep to maintain a good friendship.
Yeah.
All right.
So loyalty also can lead into something. If you're loyal to someone, you're really friends with a specific person, you also keep like trust, and you don't really say, I guess, bad things about another person in front of like other people, and like you like keep your loyal like even if no one's there, and you also have like trustworthiness. Like when you're also giving them a gift, you don't like expect them to like give you something else in return. Like say some things about that. Like, what are some things you know about that?
You don't give a gift to get something in return. If you do that, then you have the wrong motives. You're not making friends. You're just desperate. That's not how it works. So that's my opinion. That pretty much sums that up on that. You don't give a gift if you're not actually giving a gift to be generous. There's passages in the Bible about that. If you're giving a gift to earn the favor of another, you're not. That's not how gifts work. Gifts are a form of generosity. It can also be a form of a thank you, but most of the time it's a form of generosity. Like we gave you cider because that's what we do around Christmas time, and it's a form of generosity, and it's just being neighborly.
Also, thank you so much for that apple cider. I drank it all a lot, very fast. So, also I was gonna say, I also want to thank Eli for also helping me make this animatronic named Charcoal. Also, I also want to ask you, what are some ways that we can stay loyal or be loyal? Like, what can we do? How does prayer help? How can we like stay loyal?
Staying loyal. Say, let me just put together a circumstance. Say you've got a friend who you've had issues with in the past, and then you have another friend who you like to talk to about these issues. Ask them to point out when areas, like ask them to help you work through it and then point out things that you could do to stay loyal. So ask others to point out when you're not being loyal or not being friendly to another. I think that sums it up.
Like, do you think also like prayer would help? Like saying prayers or studying or finding ways to catch yourself and staying motivated to like mastering a virtue.
Prayer, that's a great way to start. You ask God to help you with that. If you struggle with it, like you really struggle with it, ask him to help you catch yourself before you do that. Before you like betray someone or you're about to not keep your promise. And then looking at passages from the Bible can be really encouraging. I've found a couple. Those might be linked down in the description. I'm not sure. We're not sure. So yeah.
That's really awesome too. And also, what do you think like different companies, like the building, like how would like a certain company, I'm not saying all, but like some companies that like wouldn't not like really be loyal, like how would that like affect the person that they're working with?